Hello, everybody. I am going to attempt to be as brief as possible in this uh, impromptu uh, stream. Normally, when I am dealing with issues in the Black community, whatever that may be, I normally stream live on my YouTube channel that focuses on that area, and then I share it on other platforms. I normally go live on Facebook solely from an inspirational, spiritual, and empowerment perspective. But there's something that is consistently, hello everybody, there's something that's consistently falling on my desk by way of phone conversation, by way of text, by way of email, inbox messages, and I want to talk about it. There's an ever widening gap. We love talking about the ever widening gap of wealth. That's a reality. That's something that we need to deal with. But what we don't talk about and what we don't acknowledge is the widening gap that's existing between Black men and Black women, the vitriol that's being spewed from both sides, the unwillingness to sit down and listen and talk to one another and get an understanding of both sides so that we can work out our differences and stand up. You know, there's a call from the side of our women for our Black men to stand up and take care of our responsibilities, to be committed to our women, to love our women, to protect our women, to provide for our women, to be a covering spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically for our women. And we need to do that. There's a call for men to be respected, to be acknowledged, to be understood in the struggles that we consistently deal with. And that needs to be done as well. The problem is that both sides don't get that they're in the situation they're in, where they literally find all fault in the other side, not by accident. It's not a coincidence. It is a social construct. It is social engineering. It is done on purpose. We have been shown the ugly side of one another for so long that we've bought into it. It is the easy go-to. It is the easiest thing to do, to point to something else when something in your life isn't right. We never ever are taught to look inside. We never ever are taught to search the other side to find out why. None of us got where we got just by happenstance. You don't get a group as large as the groups we have that are underperforming on both sides. And it's happening on both sides. There is toxic behavior on both sides. We've just been conditioned to be, first of all, individual. We're highly individualized. We're highly narcissistic on both sides. We see how we feel, and we're not trained how to see how the other person feels. And so it's easy to sit up and point the finger. And so everybody has taken a defensive position. It's all about what you're doing to me, and it's not about what I'm doing. But bigger than looking at myself and saying, okay, I have work to do. See, when I started preparing myself and I'm saying, okay, I failed at this marriage thing, and instead of pointing the finger at the other person, I asked myself, what is it that I can do to increase the chances that I have a better marriage the next time around? And I did research for years, and I wrote a book about it, When Your House Is Not a Home. And it deals with one specific area, but it touches on some other areas as well. It deals with conflict in the marriage, understanding your mate, because your mate is instinctively and inherently different than you. When you have feminine energy and masculine energy, and the way that they both manifest themselves is two different things. The desires are different. This is the place where you learn that do unto others as you have them do unto you is not necessarily what makes things work. Because what you would have someone do unto you, your mate probably isn't going to be looking for. Women want to be loved. Men want to be respected. Two totally different things, two totally different dynamics. You can literally be doing what you think is right, and it's not working. But we've got a bigger situation, because we have situations in which you have men who want to do, but have been in a situation where they can't, and nobody's listening. You got women who don't want anything but a black man, but are constantly being shown that having a black man that is going to love them the way they want to be loved is probably not going to happen. And there are a lot of different dynamics in that. We need to step back and actually look at the social dynamics, the social construct, the social conditioning, the propaganda, how it's being put out there. If you were to pay attention to the propaganda, you would swear no good men. No men out there trying to hold it down. No men out there trying. If you were to sit up and just look at the surface, you know, men are lazy. Men don't want to work. Men don't want to do anything. But we don't look at the construct that created that, that forced that. That's one of the first ways they drove men out of the house. The unemployment rate for black men in the 60s and early 70s was off the charts. They were giving black women jobs. They were telling black women who wouldn't take the college route and the career route that, hey, we got you. We're going to take care of you. We're going to pay housing. We're going to give you food stamps. We're going to give you an AFDC check. I think that's what it was back then. We're going to do all of that, but dude can't be around. And before that, they would literally send out a female social worker to the house, sit in the kitchen with the wife and plan out what the money was going to be used for, what they qualified for, and totally excluded the man. This was done. And this isn't me making excuses. This is me saying you better understand that they targeted you. They know they need us separated. They know they need us divided. I'm not championing any cat that is not stepping up to the plate. I'm sitting up saying we better understand what's going on. I'm not championing any woman that's purposely out there deriding, disrespecting, and tearing down men when I know I've got a bunch of them around me that's fighting to hold it down, that's doing everything they can to keep food on the table, keep a roof over their kids and their wives' head, and they're doing all that and taking care of any kids they may have had from a previous relationship. And the thing is, you can only give what you got. But they're out there and they're doing their thing and they're not complaining about it. They're not struggling. But then there's on the flip side of things, we're going to talk about it. We need to be whole about it. There's some women out there that got men, all they want to do is spend time with their kids and be present in their kids' life. And they're holding the kid over the dude's head because that's the only way they can fight back because they're still hurting because the relationship didn't work. See, we need to get out of ourselves. We need to get out of ourselves. There's this whole new thing that somebody brought to my attention that, you know, I could see the dynamic of it, but I didn't know it had a name. It is two sides of it. It is black men going their own way. I think that's it. And black women going their own way. Black men who have made up in their mind, they don't even want to be in relationships. They just gonna go on and do their thing. They're gonna get a job. They're gonna do whatever. And I guess they just gonna smash whenever they smash, whoever they smash. And the same thing with women. I don't want a man, don't need a man. And it completely ignores the natural, spiritual, emotional, and psychological dynamic of feminine energy and masculine energy merging to create synergy for more powerful results. And that was done on purpose. Am I giving any side a pass? No, I'm saying we got so much work to do, but we are never going to get it figured out if we keep pointing at each other because each other didn't start it. Now we've become a part of this monster that only knows one thing, to attack the other side. My thing is, one of the things that I when I'm working with a client, one of the things I do when they get to talking about, and that person did this and to me, and that person did that to me, and this person did that, and you know, they're talking about relationships, whether it's romantic relationships, whether it's friendships or whatever. And they got this thing where, you know, you got 6, 7 people and they've all done this to you and that to you. I stopped them. I said, hold on. I'm not giving anybody a pass that done you wrong. But what you're going to have to do right now, if you want to end it right now, is you're going to have to stop and answer one question. And they're like, what's that? What's the only common denominator in all those relationships? That's the hard one. Nobody wants to look inside. See, I had to ask myself that question. What's the common denominator in all these things that have gone wrong? Me. I'm the only common denominator in all these things. Unless all these people got together 20 years ago, 10 years ago, however long you've been dealing with these issues, unless they got together 10 years ago and say, hey, man, you know what? We're just going to make their life a living hell. I'm going to go first. When I finish, I'll give you a call, you run up, and then when you finish, you call so-and-so. On either side, when you're talking about male or female, unless that's what happened, and that's highly unlikely, there's something inside of you that you need to work on. Number one is I tell people all the time that God meets you at the level of your expectations. When you are expecting someone to do something, your behavior will actually facilitate it. Because if you're expecting somebody to screw you, you don't show trust, you don't show respect, you don't show intimacy and love, you don't have the ability to merge into that person, and it creates a hostile situation where a person is going to automatically go on the defensive. This, again, is not giving anybody who's not handling their business or not being what they should be a pass. We need to deal with that. And anybody who has followed me know that I have rode the hell out of black men about rising up. But we can't sit up and think that attacking one another is going to get us in a sense. We are not going to be the first darn gone group, race, nation, or whatever you want to call it, that's going to be able to rise up when there's division within. It's never going to happen. We are never going to get to a point where we're going to be that first group. The women don't like the men. And just think, that's not the only way they're dividing us. And they're using propaganda. They're using propaganda to do it in both ways. First of all, they use propaganda to divide us gender-wise. We're going to pit the black man against the black woman against the black man. We're going to emasculate and castrate the black man, make him virtually useless. We're going to incarcerate him. We're going to underemploy him. We're going to unemploy him. We're going to underpay him. We're going to make him useless in the home. We're going to get, and the way we'll make him useless in the home is we're going to educate the black woman. We're going to pay her better than we pay him. We're going to make what he has to be an integral part of the family obsolete, because everything that he can bring to the table, we're going to give her. And she will eventually come to the idea that I don't need a man. And the moment you say that, you totally lose the man, because the man is not there because he's wanted. He's there because he's needed and he's respected. And if you don't have a need for him, he's not going to hang around long, because you can't serve the internal part of his spirit that needs to be uplifted. It's not because you want him. It's not because of how fine you think he is, how awesome or cute or sexy he is. It's because it's something there that if he leaves, you won't have it. Now, you may not need his money, but you need his covering. You need his protection. You need the security he brings into the house just by being there. You know nobody's coming in there to harm you as long as he's breathing. See, he has purpose no matter how much they try to beat up the black man, tear him down. Every time you see an image of a black man in mainstream media, it's a negative image. You think it's by accident. It's not just for the whites. It's also sending a message to other blacks. It's sending a message to black boys. This is who you are. This is what you're going to become. And because they've taken a lot of men out of the community through a number of different means that I won't have time to get into, they don't have anything to look to. So the images that they're getting of themselves is coming from the TV. You get nothing but gang banging, nothing but disrespect, nothing but wife beaters, nothing but all these things. And that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to see. And women are getting this image. Can it be a good man? I've seen women with good husbands and will acknowledge when they're not in the throw of things how awesome their husband is. And the moment that something goes wrong and some dumb dude does something ass stupid, the first thing out of their mouth is, "Ain't no good men. Black men just suck." I mean, really? Yeah, I just heard you talking about how awesome your husband, but that's how powerful propaganda is. And that's the image being portrayed of the black man. Now, I can tell you personally that I know a bunch of black men holding it down. I don't associate with black men that aren't on the battlefield doing their best to hold it down. Are we perfect? Hell no. Do we still have a long way to go? Absolutely. Are we striving for it? Yes. And we're not only striving that we be great, that we be the best we can possibly be, we're over here working with these that are lost. Some of us are putting our lives on the line to work with these lost cats that don't have no love, not only for black women, but for themselves. And when a person don't love themselves, they have no problem taking you out. But so don't dismiss and throw the black man away. Same thing over here. See stupid dudes all the time talking about why they don't want a black woman. And they don't even realize that the moment you sit down and you think that anybody else out there is better than a woman in your own group, that there's something better than a black woman, the moment you think that somebody is better than a black woman and you're black, You automatically think the men in that group are better than you. Now, how in the hell are you going to go out and compete with someone you already believe is better than you? That's why so many folding. That's why so many won't speak up. That's why so many won't stand up, because they've gotten the idea that the images being portrayed by about white women are absolutely 100% true, and they're buying into this whole white women are more docile than black women. White women are more likely to kill their mate than any other woman in any other group, statistically speaking. She might not yell and cuss at you. She will poison your ass in a heartbeat for the smallest of things. I got tired of him. He complained too much. I've seen it all. I've seen it all. Complain on him. You know, my youngest son, I said this the other day in a video, my youngest son will not eat mashed potatoes because of something we were watching about a white woman poisoning her husband. I'm not saying that black women don't kill black men. Intimate partner homicide in the black community is more likely to be carried out by the male. Not necessarily the case totally on the other side. So this idea that's created, my thing is, the more you start to love yourself, the more you start to see the beauty in other things that you can connect to automatically and naturally. This isn't about telling somebody who to like and who to love. What I'm telling you is, it reflects greatly on who you are and how you see yourself. And you see it all the time. You know, I can't stand this, and all they do is this. And anything that you're doing that's one-sided. Anybody out there talking about how sorry, any woman out there talking about how sorry black men are, and not talking about some of these trifling mothers who sit up and hold these kids hostage as a weapon, it is not serving the cause. That's selfish, that's one-sided, it's not accurate. Any man that's sitting up talking about how trifling women are and doing this, whatever it is, and not talking about how there's so many men out there that the kids don't even know them, kids can't find them. Not $1 has been sent in years. You're not keeping it 100. You're not keeping it real, whatever else the sayings are right now. You're not holding it down. You're not setting the right stage for empowerment. We're never going to get to a stage of empowerment if we're consistently looking at one another and pointing the finger. See, I got enough in me that I need to work on. Every day I'm looking at how I can be a better husband, how I can be a better father, how I can be a better businessman that pours resources into the black community. How can I touch lives on an individual basis? I'm doing that every day. I don't have time to sit up and just point fingers. It's a mess. But you better start understanding who created the mess. Because if you don't, the group that created the mess will use this mess to completely wipe us off the planet. We better wake up. Because here's the thing. See, I could talk about the wealth gap, and there are literally principles and strategies and mindsets that will lead to the development and the building of wealth. I don't believe in lack, not as a general universal principle. I believe that we have the ability to create from within. It takes a totally different idea of thinking. See, we've been trained that everything they have is better than anything else. So we look at what they call wealth, and we got to have it the way they have it. See, to me, wealth is autonomy. Wealth is the ability to do the things I desire, do the things I must, and not have to depend on somebody to do it, not have to give my time up to do it. If I got to give my time up, I'm still trading for it. And if I lose the capacity to trade what I'm trading for what I want, I don't have wealth. And I'm out. Wealth is the thing we create to where we have the autonomy to live life at the level we desire to live it at. And it may not always be in money. We may not have to even use currency. Nobody's ever thought that deep because everybody's looking at it from a capitalist mindset. And I'm saying even from a capitalist mindset, we have the ability to create. The internet has made the world real small. But here's the problem. Where those type of ideals, where those type of thoughts, where those types of thinking and principles come from is in the home. The family is the institution through which values, interests, and principles are taught to young children at early ages, inculcated into their minds so deeply that by the time they leave the house, they are already behaving in a way that's conducive for their empowerment and their ability to win in this world. We're losing that battle because the house is in disarray. 72 to 76%, depending on what study you look at, says that African-American children are born into a single-parent household. This is completely opposite to where in 1960, 75% of Black children were born into a two-parent household. Now, We think that just happened. No, they came in and shook that up. Anybody understands, you go through history. The family has always been this, the first, the most power, the foundational institute. An individual, because of functionality, is an institute. In and of yourself, you're an institute, but you are a vulnerable institute in and of yourself by yourself. So the first time you see a powerful institute come together is marriage. Marriage is the foundation. Marriage is where you start to develop an idea. You merge with someone who has like mind, has a same value system, same principle, and understand we're going to grow together. So we have to have a level of understanding of how we're going to work with each other, how we're going to treat each other, how we're going to function together, how we're going to raise our kids. And when you have that understanding, you merge together, you become committed. It's not about feelings. That's another thing that we bought into, this whole romance thing, that it's all about how I feel. See, that's the times I'm not feeling like doing what I do as a man, but I don't have a choice, because it's not about my feelings, it's about my responsibility. And I want a woman that's operating in her responsibility. We don't have to always like each other. We are people. We're not always going to be on the same page. We're not going to have the same trains of thought every day. Sometimes one of us is going to be in a bad mood, but we've got to have an understanding of what commitment is, what covenant is, how we're going to stick together, stand together, and fight through this, how we're going to raise our children to do better than we've done. And then that's where they're taught group economics. That's where they're taught business ownership. That's where they're taught how to stand on their own, believe in themselves, how beautiful they are, how handsome they are, how smart they are. They're taught it in the home with both feminine and masculine energy working together. And yet, after I've said all of this, there will be people who will watch this, and the first thing in their mind is to start pointing the finger at the other gender and blaming them. There's enough falling at the feet on both sides that we've got work to do. I can't point a finger if I've got work to do. That's a problem. You know, I think about the story told about the adulteress being brought to Jesus. I think about that story, and it's real simple. Let he who is out sin cast the first stone. That means before you start throwing stones, you got to make sure that everything in the house is fixed. Everything in the house is taken care of. You need to start working on healing you. A lot of the pain that you're going through is because you're still hurting from 4 relationships ago, and you're still trying to get into relationships, and you're burning them, and it's burning you. And I ain't just talking to women. I'm talking, it's a bunch of broken men out here. To me, anytime all you can do is blame women, you're hurting and you're broken. And it may go all the way back to mom, but you need to fix it. You need to heal from it, because you need to be whole. Because you need to be able to carry out what you're supposed to carry out, no matter how you feel. We better stop allowing a system that's designed to destroy us to dictate how we see one another. Now, as I close, am I saying in any way that we don't have a problem? We have major problems on both sides. We're failing miserably, and it was designed that way. We're going to have to come out of it. We're going to have to see something better than what we've been seeing. Look, I'm going to get out of here because I got some things to do, some responsibilities. Got one of the little ones I got to get off. But I just wanted to stop by. I've been hearing this over and over again, and I see it all the time. We're at each other's throats, and that's exactly what they want. And they keep feeding us the things that make us be at each other's throat. And that's where all of this is coming from. We have to understand, yeah, we got some work to do. And black men, those of us who kind of got it together, we're trying to do the right thing. We need to go over here and work with some of these brothers that's totally off kill. Black sisters, you good wives, you good mothers. You know when you're seeing a sister just totally off kill. You know when a sister is stirring up something that could easily stir the emotions of other sisters because they feel the pain. And they go on this witch hunt and they club all black men in the same pool. You got a responsibility to say, nah, that ain't how it's happening in my house. My husband ain't perfect, but he loves me. He respects me. He loves our kids. He fights hard to keep us where we need to be and get us ahead to something greater. That we need to share. We need to understand that if we just fed the image of Black manhood by the system, we're going to always get the dirt. The system constantly pumps the dirt. Everything you look at and how they report anything is clumping the dirt. We are going to have to be responsible enough to understand what we're into. I've got to get out of here. I absolutely love you. Don't forget on any channel to support the Black Man Lead Rite of Passage Initiative and other programs that are being carried out by the Odyssey Project. One other thing, we're starting to announce this. I'm really excited. Marion and I, my wife, for those who don't know, I say her name and talk about her enough. Everybody should know who she is. But we will be launching the Safe Haven Spiritual Center and Community Outreach this year. We are still pushing and working, putting everything together. But we need spiritual empowerment. We need to have a stronger connection to God. We need to have a stronger understanding of our power because of our connection to God. And that's going to be a part of what I'm going to be doing in addition to the things I'm already doing. I'm not laying anything down. I'm taking on something else. And I'm going to trust that I have the provision to carry it out. But I just want to share that with you. Don't forget to support the program. Later on, I'll put the link in so that you can actually do that. Matter of fact, I'll put it in right after I close this out. But that's it for now. I just wanted to stop by and talk about that. And I'll probably be talking about it a little more because it's obviously an issue. We've got to get back to loving one another, and it starts with loving ourselves. With that being said, I'm out of here.